Recently I made a community post simply asking the question, which game got better DLC, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Personally, I felt that both games got the best DLC out of any game on the Switch, but I wasn't sure which one most people would think was better. But after asking the question, something I have never seen before on a YouTube poll happened. A perfect 50-50 split. I knew it would be close, but I didn't think it would be this divisive. So that got me reflecting back on my own thoughts for both games, and I thought, hey, maybe this could be an interesting video. So today, we're going to be holding a little contest. I've prepared several categories to judge both the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters passes and the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Pass to once and for all determine which game got the best DLC. In my opinion, at least. I should probably say that before people are annoyed. Now, this video is probably going to be a lot less structured than most of my other videos, but I hope you all enjoyed this look at both games regardless. If you do enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. At 200k, I'm going to be ranking every 2D Mario level, and let's jump right into the competition. Both DLC packs added many similar things, and the most obvious of which is new characters. The Smash Ultimate Fighters passes added in 11 new characters: Joker, Hero, Banjo, Terry, Byleth, Min, Steve, Sephiroth, Pyra and Mythra, Kazuya, and Sora. Each of these characters come from different franchises, most of which were not represented on the roster before the DLC, except for these three nerds. In comparison, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC only added in 8 new characters: Birdo, Petey Piranha, Wiggler, Kamek, Pauline, Funky Kong, Diddy Kong, and Peachette. Now, if you know how to do math, that's less than the new characters added in the Fighters passes, so automatically you'd think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe would lose just based off of that. But there is one thing I also wanted to consider here. Before the Booster Course Pass came out, they did not announce that they would be adding new characters at all. Birdo came as a complete surprise in Wave 4, which was really exciting, so I could see an argument that the Booster Course Pass including characters at all when it didn't need to would put it on top. However, it takes way less effort to add in a Mario Kart character than a Smash Bros character. I mean, I'm no developer, but it's pretty clear to see that a Smash Bros character takes significantly more time. For a Mario Kart character, you only have to add on a few animations of them driving, tricking, and so on. For a Smash Bros character, not only do you need a lot more animations, but you also need to come up with a unique moveset for that character. The 11 Fighters Pass characters and Ultimates are also some of the most unique characters in the entire series. Steve is able to use blocks to build on the stage, not only blocking people from attacking him, but also letting him extend combos. Hero is able to pick from a random selection of powerful spells, each of which have some pretty wild effects. Min is able to make me angry. Wow, nice edge guard. I bet it took so much effort to hold forward smash. But you know, that actually brings me to another aspect of these characters that have been mildly controversial. Now, this pretty much won't apply to you at all if you don't play competitive Smash, but for those of you that do, you would know that the discussion around the DLC fighters has been very annoying, especially for the characters added in Fighters Pass 2. Many people feel as though their inclusion made the game worse due to how annoying they are to fight. In Mario Kart, a new character isn't really able to be annoying to go against, unless they have every stat maxed or something, but that's not the case in 8 Deluxe. And I do understand this perspective. Min is my least favorite character to fight in the entire game, but also I feel like it's a skill issue. If you get upset that you keep losing to a character, just keep practicing. Yes, some matchups are bad, but that's just what you signed up for when you picked your character. I'm a Steve main, by the way. So with that sort of long-winded rant aside, I think it's pretty safe to say that Smash Ultimate beats out Mario Kart when it comes to new characters. Alright, we went over the main focus of the Fighters Pass, and now I think it's only fair to go over the main focus of the Booster Course Pass, obviously being the courses. Starting with Smash again, the Fighters Pass added 11 different stages, one for each character. Those stages are Mementos, Yggdrasil's Altar, Spiral Mountain, King of Fighters Stadium, Gregmach Monastery, while writing my script, Garreg auto-corrected to Garten. I have a problem. Spring Stadium, Minecraft World, Northern Cave, Cloud Sea of All Rest, Mishima Dojo, and Hollow Bastion. In comparison, the Booster Course Pass added 48 new tracks, doubling the amount that was in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe already. Those were Parish Promenade, Toad's Certain, you know what, I'm not listing all 48 of them, that'd be a waste of time. So just looking number-wise, yeah, it's pretty clear which one wins, but I do still think there's some nuance here. For one, the new stages added in Ultimates are completely new, whereas most of the Booster Course Pass are remixed tracks from previous games. Now for me personally, I don't really mind just getting remixed tracks. There are a lot of courses from the Mario Kart series that are bangers that aren't in 8 Deluxe. Plus some of these remakes do feel almost entirely new. Riverside Park from Super Circuit and Bowser's Castle 3 from Super Mario Kart are great examples of this. So while I understand some preferring to get entirely new content, I don't see these being retro tracks as much of a problem, especially when there's over 4 times the amount of tracks added when compared to the Fighters Passes. I also imagine Mario Kart tracks are much harder to make than a Smash Bros stage. Simply put, Mario Kart tracks are in 3D, while Smash Bros stages are only fought in 2D. So just like the characters we saw before, not only does one game have more stages, but they're also bigger as well. But before we give Mario Kart 8 Deluxe the point here, there is one more argument I could see people having in favor of Smash Ultimate. Each of its 11 stages look look and play entirely differently from one another, many of them even having unique gimmicks that make them some of the best stages in the game. Minecraft World has 6 different biome variations, each of which have a slightly different layout. King of Fighters Stadium has these really unique invisible walls that break when someone is sent flying into them with enough speed. Spiral Mountain spins the stage as you fight. Okay, this one kinda sucks. But the point is that the Smash Bros stages are all completely distinct from one another. Compare that to the booster course paths where there is a lot of overlap in track theme and gimmicks. I mean, there are 14 city tracks, which almost everyone agrees is a bit much. However, even considering that many of the booster course tracks do overlap themes, I think there is still enough distinct content here to say that it overall has more variety due to the sheer amount of tracks. So for that, I think we can bring up the score to 1-1. But now we get to what might be the single hardest category to pick a winner for, that being music. This is a section of both DLC packs that I think have received an equal amount of praise. I've always wanted to talk about music for a video, but I still don't know how to make a whole video about music interesting, but I am happy to get a chance to talk about it here. The 2 Fighters passes combined added in a lot of music, well over 100 tracks to the game. In comparison, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course pass only added 47 new songs. It's not 48 because they didn't give Waluigi Pinball a new remix. So based on sheer quantity, you'd think the Fighters pass would win here, right? Well, you have to consider that most of the music added to Ultimate already existed before the DLC, as they're just exact rips from each character's respective games. While I am of course super happy that they added so many iconic tracks, for the sake of this segment, I'm only going to be considering the new remixes. My favorite part about the music in these DLC packs are listening to them outside the game itself and also getting to use them in videos. And if the music track already existed before, well, I could have already used the music without the DLC. So what we really need to look at is how many new remixes are included in the Fighters passes. Going character by character, Joker brought 3, Hero brought none, what a loser. Banjo brought 7, Terry brought 17, byleth brought 2, Min Min brought 2, Steve brought 6, Sephiroth brought 4, Pythra brought 3, Kazuya brought 8, and Sora brought none. Throwing on Megalovania from the Sans Me costume brings us to a total of 53. Unlike the difference in new stages, the difference between the amount of music added in these games is really close, so I think to determine the true winner, we have to figure out which one got the higher quality songs. That is not very easy though, because both games' music teams do an incredible job remixing these songs. I mean, just off the top of my head for Smash, I love Beneath the Mask from Persona 5, Cosmo Canyon from Final Fantasy VII is fantastic, and all of the Minecraft remixes are phenomenal, but especially Glide and Holland. On the other hand, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe music is also fantastic. Shroom Ridge was a surprise hit for me, Sky Garden was already a great song that sounds even better now, both of the added Rainbow Road tracks got bangers, and so on. This is a really tough choice for me to make, and for all the topics I have for this video, I imagine this will be the most evenly split. But which one am I going to be giving the crown to? After all, my opinion is the only one that matters. Well, I think I'm gonna have to give the edge to Smash. Not only does it just have a bit more, but I think the remixes here had to do a bit more work. While the Booster Course remixes are indeed fantastic, the original songs were already from Mario Kart games. That means they didn't have to change the feel of the songs too much when bringing them over. Smash Bros on the other hand had to change some of its remixes a lot. I mean, let's just compare the original version of Holland to the Smash Bros edition. The feeling is completely different, but in a good way. I personally love the high energy music from Smash as well, which I think was able to put this over the top. Plus adding on the non-remixes as well, I think Smash earns the point, but I think there's definitely an argument to be made in favor of Mario Kart. Now I want to focus on the general quality of the pack as a whole. This is where most people agree the Booster Course pass kinda fumbles. Let's take a look at the characters and stages added in the Fighters passes. Not only do these look like they belong with the rest of the base game, but most of the time they're even higher quality. I don't want to go over everybody in this video, but let's take a look at 2 of the strongest examples of this, Joker and Steve. Both of these characters got a lot of extra love, to the point where most of the base game characters are probably extremely jealous. I just can't do it, I can't. Joker has so many little details in his pack that they didn't need to include. He has 2 costumes based on his school uniform design, his in-game portrait actually changes when he has Arsene, and my personal favorite has to be his unique Final Smash victory screen, which no other character has. On top of that, his stage Mementos also has his own special Easter egg of turning blue when Persona 3 music is being played, and yellow with Persona 4 music. This will even bleed into Joker's victory theme and animation, which is just so cool. Steve also got a ton of unique details to him. There are a ton of hidden sounds, like Steve using his fishing rod on water, Steve climbing a ladder, and Steve falling from a tall height, all of which come from Minecraft. Steve also of course has costumes based on Alex, Zombie, and Enderman. That last one especially was a surprise since they had to shrink him down. And I mentioned this before, but Minecraft World has 6 different biome variations, which they definitely didn't need to do. So yeah, not only do these look like they belong within the base game, but they are almost all better than what we saw with the base fighters and stages. The same, however, cannot be said for the Mario Kart tracks. In my opinion, base Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is one of, if not the best looking game on the Switch. It's got that perfect balance of cartoony and realistic, and I genuinely don't don't know how you could make it even better. Looking at each and every one of the game's base tracks always makes the game feel fantastic, but sadly this does not carry over to the Booster Course Pass. I mean, just look at these, some of them honestly look bad. Take SNES Mario Circuit 3, it feels so much lazier than let's just say GBA Mario Circuit. They should have approximately the same aesthetic, but it's very clear which one had more effort put into it. In some cases, the tracks even look worse than they did originally. Toad Circuit, for example, looked much better on the 3DS. It just feels as though they didn't try with most of these graphically. Granted, there are a few that are base game level, I think both the Waluigi tracks look quite good, but a majority of these tracks are pretty weak graphic-wise. On top of that, a lot of these remakes just didn't change as much as the base game retro tracks. Now that definitely doesn't apply to everything, stuff like Boo Lake I'd say got remixed on a similar level to the base game, but a lot of the changes on the others are very minimal. That's because the tracks in this DLC are heavily based on Mario Kart Tour, and since that game doesn't have anti-gravity, most of these tracks don't either. So while the quantity is certainly very high in the Mario Kart DLC, the quality is definitely lower than what you may expect. So in my opinion, Smash Ultimate easily earns the point for quality, bringing the score up to 3-1. Now, one aspect of the DLC that many of you may not be thinking about is the price. Now, I would have bought both of these regardless of the price. Okay, well, unless it was like $1 billion. Actually, no, for Minecraft Steve, it's worth it. But price is definitely an important thing to consider for many people. The two Fighters Passes combined cost $55. Actually, it's $54.98. I can't believe it would try and misrepresent. The Booster Course Pass, on the other hand, is only $25. On top of that, you can even get it for free if you're subscribed to the Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass, which is something that I was already subscribed to well before this was even announced. Now, you can also add on the prices for the Mii costumes and Piranha Plant for Smash Ultimate, but A, no one is buying all the Mii costumes, you'd have to be an insane person, and B, it doesn't change my assessment here, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe clearly wins. Not only is it less than half the price of the Fighters Passes, but the amount of content is pretty comparable, and it's probably more accurate to say that the Booster Course Pass has more content. But that's also why I wanted to cover quality first, as I think it lies as the central debate between these two DLC packs. I'm sure everyone has heard of the quality versus quantity argument. This is definitely a case of that, where Smash is the quality and Mario Kart is the quantity. Now, a lot of people like to say that they're on the side of quality, but let's be honest, that's not really how most things work. The reason I say that is because it's perfectly fair to prefer the quantity approach, and that's why I think so many people do like the Booster Course Pass the most. And when you consider the price difference too, I think it's fair to say that the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass is well worth it. So that means the Booster Course Pass earns the point for price, bringing us to 3-2. But now we have come to the final factor I want to mention. This may not be something to consider for all of you, but for me, I thought it was pretty important. That is, the excitement factor. How much hype was generated by the reveal and release of each pack? Well, I think it's safe to say that Smash wins here, and it's pretty understandable why. I mean, just take a look at the 11 fighters we got. Joker from Persona 5 was a huge surprise reveal, and pretty much the only good thing to ever come from the Game Award. Hero from Dragon Quest represents a massive franchise, and also turned out to be one of the most fun characters in my opinion. Banjo was one of the most requested characters in all of Smash, so his reveal felt like a long journey finally coming to an end. Terry, okay, nobody knew who he was, but he represented a new franchise. Byleth, wasn't liked at all. Well, Min. But Minecraft Steve literally broke the internet, causing Twitter to crash with his reveal. He comes from the best-selling video game ever, so it's pretty understandable that people were hyped to see him, and I'm definitely in that camp, seeing as Minecraft is my third favorite game, only behind Mario Odyssey and Smash Ultimate. Sephiroth is one of the most iconic gaming villains ever, and he also fixed a lot of the problems Final Fantasy VII had in its representation. Pyra and Mythra were fine, I guess. Kazuya represents a new series in Tekken and was pretty cool to see, and Sora ended it off being once again another hugely requested character, but one thought to be impossible due to him being owned by Disney. Now yes, these passes did have their ups and downs, but it's safe to say that the ride was exciting throughout. Now let's compare that to Mario Kart. While it was certainly nice to see every track be announced, it was obviously much less of a big deal than Smash. Now this is due to a few things. For one, they didn't reveal most of the tracks and directs themselves, instead previewing with like 2 tracks, then randomly dropping the full trailer later. The Smash reveals also each had a big trailer that helped to build the excitement around them as well. But I think the main thing is just that the Smash content was actually new. Pretty much all of the Booster Course Pass tracks come from previous titles, and there are only so many tracks that they can choose from. That made each reveal of a wave almost turn more disappointing than exciting. Every single bad choice stuck out more here because they're taking away spots from tracks that deserve it way more. I'll fight for you until the day I die. Now yeah, people definitely love to talk about wasted thoughts with Smash 2, but one thing you can't say is that byleth, for example, took a spot away from a specific character. There was no telling who would be added to these passes, Nintendo characters, niche third-party characters, or some of the most famous characters of all time. That made each reveal in Smash feel so much more special, and I think made it easier to reflect positively on it than the Booster Course Pass. When I'm looking at the Fighters Passes, I'm not thinking, dang, where's Freddy Fazbear? But when looking at the Booster Course Pass, I can't help but be sad that tracks like Airship Fortress or Toad Factory didn't make it, despite being so much better than a majority of tracks that were added. So that's why I think it's fair to say that Smash Ultimate wins when it comes to excitement, as each reveal had way more hype and it's easier to look back at the past as a whole in a positive light, at least for me. So that brings our final score to 4-2, meaning that I personally believe the Smash Ultimate Fighters passes are indeed a bit better than the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course pass. Eventually, the poll I started this video with did barely lean on the side of Smash, but I think it's safe to say that regardless of which side you're on, the competition is pretty dang close. Some people may prefer the high quantity of stages from the Booster Course pass, but for me, I think I'm gonna have to say that I prefer the high quality of the Fighters passes for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But anyways, that's it for this video. Do you think Los Angeles Laps is the best thing to ever happen to gaming and hate me for saying the Fighters passes were better? Let me know in the comments. I know this was quite different from many of my other videos, but I had a lot of fun comparing these two together. If you want to see any more comparison videos like this, I'd be happy to do them if this video does well. Make sure to also leave any suggestions in the comments. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.